Welcome to my show.
Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today we will be reacting to horror stories that are animated. So the first video is called 3 True Paranormal Horror Stories Animated, alright? So this is made by Onesie Entertainment. Interesting. You get a shout out, man. Okay. Something breathed in my ear.
Hi, I'm Christy, and I'm 15 years old. I'm more of a night person, so I pretty much stay up very late. This is why my sleep schedule is so messed up. I usually go to bed around 3 to 5 a.m. Sometimes I don't even sleep.
Bro, you go to sleep at 3 or 5 a.m., man? Okay, very suspicious.
At all. But this experience changed everything for me. It was 4 a.m. one night when I was watching my favorite series. I just turned off the TV and went to bed. Suddenly, I started getting chills for no reason. I just brushed it off and thought it was just me being cold. But then, I started hearing very strange noises coming from my window, like a very slow tapping. I got scared and I didn't want to check, so I just closed my eyes thinking everything would just go away. But unfortunately it didn't. It became louder and a bit faster. I just turned away from the window and hoped that everything would be over soon. But suddenly, I felt a very heavy breathing in my ear. I got so scared.
Oh my god, bro. You have to start praying to God. You have to be like, Hail Mary, full of grace, bro. There's something breathing in your ear, man. You have to start praying.
But I wouldn't even open my eyes. I just pretended to be asleep. I started sweating heavily and trembling a bit too. I passed out right after. I woke up the next day thinking about everything that happened that night was just a dream. Suddenly I felt a sharp pain in my leg. When I looked down, I saw scratches all over them, as if a creature with sharp nails.
Yo, that's a lot of scratches, bro. That's a lot of scratches. Go to the doctor so you get healed. And by the way, it's not a dream. If it was a dream, you would wake up. Actually, it would be a nightmare. If it's a, yeah.
Tried to claw me. I didn't bother telling my mom because I knew that she wouldn't believe me even if I showed her the scratches. I didn't tell anyone about the incident. And when they asked about my leg, I would just tell them I accidentally fell off my bike. But I can't help but wonder, what was that thing that breathed in my ear? And what were those tapping noises? I still have no explanation for everything that happened, but one thing I know is that I won't go to bed late anymore. Some of you might not believe me, but that's okay. I wouldn't believe me either.
Oh my gosh! You have so many eyeballs! Bro! Oh my god, I got the chills. Give me 1 second. I got the chills, bro. I'm sweating. That is some disgusting creature. Very paranormal. That's some big paranormal activity right there.
But I can't help but wonder, what would have happened if I opened my eyes? Would I be dead?
When I was a junior in college, I used to work at a graveyard that's pretty famous for ghost sightings. I was 18 at the time, doing extra work to pay for college. I was with another coworker who was telling me she was having issues with her husband and her kids, just talking about how bad her life was going. She was mopping the floors, and I was taking out the trash from the hallway. The hallway was very long, and after hours the lights would turn off. I picked up a few bags and took them outside to the parking lot area to throw them in the big dumpsters. I'm pretty short, so I had to climb a ladder to dispose of the trash. When I turned around to go back to the building, I saw my coworker holding the mop, looking out towards me. And above her, there was this smoke-like cloud. It was gray and translucent. I immediately felt the hairs on the
It's 100% a ghost because they work in the graveyard.
back of my neck rise and a big node in my gut. As I was walking towards the entrance of the building, I heard a whisper behind me. I couldn't make out what it said, and that feeling in my gut was getting worse. I rushed inside and locked the door behind me. I took a minute to breathe and called my coworker to see if she was done. I looked for her, but only found the bucket and mop in the middle.
Oh no. Oh no. The ghost took her. Oh no. Flip.
Middle of the hallway, as if she just dropped everything and left. I then called my supervisor to tell her that I couldn't find my coworker, and it seemed that she just suddenly left the building. I never saw her again. It's been 6 years since that incident, and I still remember that night, and I'm still curious about what could have made my coworker drop everything and leave in the middle of the night.
Wow, she got taken by the ghost, or the ghost took her. Oh my God.
Hello everyone, my name's Kali, and I'm 18 years old. I have light fuchsia hair and brown eyes. But what I'm going to tell you happened 7 years ago. I had brown hair then. Back then, my precious grandpa had been sick for quite some time, and at last he came to rest. I was heartbroken, but my granny was worse. Since my grandparents lived alone, we moved in with her to ease her fear of an old woman being alone in a big house. Me and my brother shared the same bedroom, which was next to my grandpa's room, and his room was taken by my grandma. Some days passed, things were finally starting to feel normal until one certain night. I used to sleep early, since I was an 11-year-old student, but sometimes I woke up in the middle of the night to drink some water, and I was fully awake. It was always scary because it was too dark and quiet, but Grandma's snoring always broke the silence. That night, though, something very strange happened. I got up, drank some water from the bottle I have next to my bed, and out of the blue, instead of Granny's snoring, I heard Grandpa's. At first I was startled, but I thought I might have misheard. But no, since I was fully awake, I got up and stood next to my bed. I even slapped my cheeks. Yes, it was Grandpa's usual loud snoring. Now you'll think, how do I know whose snoring that was? Both my grandparents were snoring when I was sleeping with them, so I know it very well. I got so scared that moment and I started praying. I looked at my brother next to my bed and I calmed a bit, but the snoring didn't stop. There was no way I was going to check on it, so I went to sleep. Next morning, I told my mother what I had experienced, but of course she said I was probably half asleep. Even if she didn't believe me, I knew she would eventually since she had an experience of her own.
Okay, so you're saying you heard your grandpa snoring, even though he's already dead. Oh my gosh, a spirit is stuck in the house. Or it's something else.
When she was younger. Anyways, I'm not sure what I heard that night, but it still bothers me to this day.
Wow. That was really amazing. Okay, I'm actually really surprised. Wancy Entertainment, I give you another shout out. It was really amazing. Alright guys, so this is the next video. It's still made by Wancy Entertainment, and this is called If You See This Man, Do Not Mention Anything About His Appearance. Interesting. It's happening again.
It's happening again.
The words struggled to leave my mother's mouth as she stood, shaking in the kitchen. My brother, Jimmy, and I eyed her curiously. Before we could respond, my father stood up and asked her, "Are you sure?" His typically charismatic and whimsical tone now buried beneath a new voice built from panic and concern.
Yes, I'm sure,
she replied. My father stood still for a moment in disbelief, whispered something to my mother, then turned to face us. "Boys, there's a man coming to town. You're going to see him around. Maybe in the street, maybe on a park bench, maybe even in the corner of your bedroom at night." I looked at my brother and was met with a mirrored reflection of confusion. We looked back to my father. "Listen to me, boys. No matter what he looks like this time, do not mention anything about his appearance." My mind raced, unsure if my parents were losing their collective minds or if this was some sort of out-of-character joke they were playing. I spoke up, breaking the silence. "Dad, what are you talking about? Who's coming to town?" My father approached us. He placed one hand on Jimmy's shoulder and the other on mine. "I know this doesn't make a lot of sense, or any sense for that matter, but I need you both to be strong and mature for me, okay? If you see a man around town that looks different, promise me you will not say anything about how he looks. Not to me, not to your mom, not to each other or anyone. Not even a whisper. Got it?" Jimmy and I looked to each other and then back to Dad. We nodded. The next few days proceeded like normal. We went to school, came home, and played outside with our friends. Mom and Dad never brought up that night. For some reason, we never felt like bringing it back up to them. I went to bed that night content, not knowing that tomorrow would lead to the most horrific experience of my life. The school bus stopped at the corner. Jimmy and I raced home to drop off our backpacks and grabbed our baseball gear. We were meeting the other guys at the Diamond for a pickup game. The weather was perfect. I'll never forget that. Jimmy and I rode as fast as we could pedal down the street and onto the sidewalk. We arrived at the Diamond to find the other guys already waiting for us. We ditched our bikes and sprinted onto the field.
Nice, they're playing baseball.
When it was my turn to bat, I recited the words my dad had taught me. Hands back, eye on the ball, swing through the ball. I repeated my mantra as the ball came in. The second the bat made contact, I knew that I had crushed it. The ball soared into the sky to the depths of left field. Mike was fast, but even as the fastest kid on the block, he couldn't catch this one. He sprinted towards the ball as it came crashing back down to earth as I ran the bases. I grinned ear to ear as I rounded third to home. Then the cheers from my team ended abruptly as the world seemed to pause in silence. We all looked in unison toward left field. The baseball sat at the feet of a man, at least what resembled a man. Mike stood and stared, glancing back at us. We all inched closer for a better look. The thing that stood in the field wore a black suit jacket, black pants, and a top hat. But it wasn't a man at all. It was, in all respect...
Ew! What is that? You made out of sausages, bro, and pickles? You made out of sausages that are dyed, bro? It's kind of disgusting.
a balloon.
Ah, it's made of a balloon. Ah, I see.
Someone had tied together a series of balloons to create a sort of ballooned animal human being and dressed it in clothes. The bulbous yellow head was oversized, with red balloon eyes and a big blue grin. It had a green nose sticking out like a ripe cucumber, and what looked to be drawn-on ears. Mike burst out laughing, breaking the silence. A sound I'll never forget. He dropped to the grass and rolled in hysterics. He got back up and stared the balloon creature in its inflated eyeballs. Is this the man our parents have been so scared of? A fucking balloon? His roaring laughter continued. Despite it being very windy that day, the balloon man didn't even flinch. It just stood, grinning its blue grin. Mike poked the balloon man with his finger and jolted back, grabbing his finger in pain. Jimmy tugged me by the shirt. I think we should go home. I nodded in agreement. We rode home in silence. At dinner, we did not mention the incident. Tension filled the kitchen like our parents already knew. That night, a shrill scream filled the street and jolted me out of bed. I ran downstairs, Jimmy tailing behind me. My dad yelled for us to stay inside. We didn't listen. Mike's mom stood outside screaming and pacing the street. Lights from the neighboring houses turned on one by one until we saw. Mike's mother held something in her arms. The neighbors stood from their lawns and gasped when they saw. She was holding a balloon version of Mike. It was even wearing his clothes.
Oh my God. What?
She continued her screaming, demanding to know where her son was, pleading with the neighborhood. She dropped to her knees, squeezing balloon impersonation in her arms. The pop echoed throughout the street, and Mike's mother.
Oh, that's disgusting. He was made out of balloons, though. Was he filled with ketchup?
Sat on the pavement.
That was disgusting, bro. Okay. Alright, so the guy they met earlier, I think that was the guy like the parents were talking about, obviously. He was made out of balloons. I thought it was sausages, but he was made out of balloons, but in the end, you know, Mike was like laughing at his appearance, his looks, because he is literally made out of balloons. And though he is like saying, was this the guy that mom and dad were talking about? And then he started laughing and whatever. And then like at the end, the mom was carrying him, but like in balloon form with a sad smile. I mean, a smile that's upside down. And it popped. And there was a lot of blood splatter. That was kind of disgusting though. So guys, this is the end of our video. If you liked the video, please subscribe and like for more updates. Bye!